Yes, hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles, and welcome to the latest action figure review here on the channel. And as you can see on my little lightbox stage here, today's installment is going to be all about the G.I. Joe Classified Series Cobra Dreadnok Buzzer figure. So stick around, I'm going to be giving you all the ins and outs, ups and downs that you need to know about this fig. So if you're thinking about picking one up for yourself, you'll be able to hopefully make your mind up, influenced by some of my comments and review thoughts today. I'm going to talk about the aesthetic experience of the figure. What's the visuals like? How's he look? Then I'm going to talk about the articulation. How's he move? How's he pose? Then we're going to do a quick rundown of all the accessories and added value to talk about how they enhance our man-child play experience. And with all that said and done, there should be plenty of content there for you to consume and enjoy and use to make your mind up about Buzzer and whether he's the figure for you. But before I get into all that, when he arrived on my doorstep just the other day, I cracked it open and recorded myself unboxing him. So let's go back in time and visit past Chris to see how that went. All right then, folks. Well, here is the Dreadnok Buzzer packaging. It's arrived today. I've been in work. I've come home and this bad boy was waiting for me. It's very, very exciting, and a big shout out to my friends in the US who helped me get my hands on this. But it's standard G.I. Joe Classified Series packaging. It's the windowless box has been standard lately, with the big digital render as the central image. Great dynamic shot there of Buzzer using his chainsaw in the band rehearsal room at Dreadnok Central. Got a little cutaway in the corner there showing off all the accessories that are included with the figure, and then the wonderful artwork, which I've mentioned before. It's great to see that being so consistent in tone and look at this moment in time, and then all the black trimming motifs. Then on the back, Buzzer is 106 in the line. We've got the digital render again with the measuring stick at the side there telling us that he's 6.2 inches tall, with all the accessories being shown off again. A couple of breakout windows with some focal points, the skull and crossbone belt buckle, and the tattoo paint application on his arm. Then all the legal bollocks and malarkey across the bottom, and of course the data card. Okay, just zoomed in on this then. So we've got, what's that there? A $sign over some crossed bones. So I'm pretty sure that is indicating the fact that Buzzer is an educated man with a degree from Cambridge. He studied history and sociology, and that is indicating that his dissertation was on anatomical studies in Victorian Edinburgh. He kind of got a little bit of a taste for the old gravedigger cadaver making murder scene there and found it all very exciting. Then we've got, that looks like a glow stick or a... Oh, I know what that is. So that is an aircraft marshal baton, because before he left Cambridge and came over to the United States to start his life as a motorcycle gang member, Buzzer here worked at Stansted Airport as an airport marshal. Then we've got a brain symbol with a lightning bolt through it there. So this is to indicate Buzzer's pastime. He's a massive Matrix fan, runs a Matrix fan blog, which is called 120 volt bio battery. And that's what that's all about. That's the symbol, the thumbnail on his blog there. And then finally, we've got this little scientific swirl thing. We've got another Big Bang Theory fan on our hands, folks. So Buzzer loves Big Bang, massively into the sitcom, has watched all the Young Sheldon episodes as well. And if you asked him, he'd tell you that Howard was his favourite character. Then on the side here, we've got a larger representation of that painted artwork with Buzzer looking, nice and mean with his chainsaw and his goggles on. And then on this side, we've got the little sepia version of the painted artwork, a repeat of the data card that's far too small for anyone to be able to read, and then the QR code, which at this moment in time, I've checked it out, folks, takes us to some print and colouring pickies that you can get your hands on for Kaya and the Kimono Warriors or something. I have no idea. My kids have grown out of these cartoons and looks fun though. All right, let's crack Buzzer open then. I've just popped the tape at the bottom. Slide this out. So we've got the weapons locker here, and then the figure is in the cardboard frame. Let's do the weapons locker first. All right, 106 Dreadnok Buzzer. Let's get the top open there. There's the stuff, and of course, whoop, the paperwork. Right, let's tear the top off of that, like you might do a Nesquik sachet to flavour your milk. Tip that out there. Is that completely empty? Yes, it is. So we've got the chainsaw, we've got the little swingy chain axe thing, a little pistol handgun, a little, not so little, in fact, axe made out of some motor parts, a little dagger, and then his glasses stroke goggles. And, oh, plastic tie wraps, let me get the scissors. All right then, and there we go. There is Buzzer with all his goodies and accessories. So, as usual, I'm going to go away for a few days now, get good and hands-on with the figure, have some man-child playtime, experiment with a few displays with him. There's some obvious ideas that I'm going to explore with this guy and just generally get to grips with him before I come back and share my review thoughts. So you stick around because Future Chris will be back with you in 3, 2, 1... All right then, folks, well, here is Buzzer, just sort of raw as he came out the packaging there. Now, let's talk about the visual experience. Let's get into the aesthetic qualities of the figure. And bringing him a little bit nearer to the camera, we can take a closer look, conduct a closer inspection of the visual qualities. Let's start with the head sculpt. It's a decent enough head sculpt. We know that G.I. Joe Classified series, the design team over there, have got some good head sculpt game. The facial features are well defined. We've got good paint applications on the hair, on the eyebrows, on the lips, on the eyes. That's all good. He's got his own distinctive look, his own unique features. A little bit of that growly, buck-toothy thing coming through there as well, giving it some personality and a bit of character and depth to it, which is all nice to see. A little forehead furrows there, nice. And he looks a bit grisly, he looks a bit battered, he looks a bit like he's, been up to various kinds of dreadnocky, swampy misadventures there, which is nice. I'll tell you one thing that I noticed. Does it look like his eyebrows are really shiny? I mean, I know he's under my lights and everything here now, but trust me, it looks like he's got really shiny eyebrows. I don't know if that's a fashion choice on Buzzer's part or not, but there we go. And then the hair's nicely sculpted there. You can see it's got the fine sculpting detail. There's a weird line that goes, like a mould line that goes across the top of his head here. There you go, you can see that better there. See that, which is a bit disappointing and stands out. It's kind of one of those things that once you notice it, you can't not notice it anymore. It's very distinctive there, look, if I do it that way. And the ponytail is well sculpted and all that too. You'll notice there's a little bit of a silver paint smudge here on his forehead. He didn't come out the box like that, actually. That is a little paint smudge that's been caused by his glasses, which I'll get to when I do the accessory bit of the review, from a desk fall. I knocked him off wobbling my desk too much, and the glasses sort of scraped across the top of his head and left that little silvery mark. I could probably get that off. I haven't done so before this review. But yeah, really into the head sculpt. It's nice. It's all up to the usual G.I. Joe Classified series standard. Moving further down onto the figure, we can see there's loads of really nice sculpted details to give it some texture, some depth, and to add to the storytelling. Got the little sheriff's badge there sculpted on with the little gold paint application, or kind of brass, I suppose it would be, would it? The dog tags hanging out there again with a little nice, neat paint application on those. He's got these grenades hanging off this little shoulder strap here, and that's been painted in green. That's all lovely. It's always great to see a paint application on a belt buckle there, the skull and crossbones. I mean, I suppose they had to, really, didn't they, on a belt buckle of this nature? But if you look around the figure, you can see there's paint applications all the way around, making the belt nice and distinctive and stand out. Big old leathery cod piece as well. Nice details on things like the watch and the gloves. Let's move him back a bit so he's in focus. There you go. Yeah, got his big wristband watch and stuff. That's all lovely to see. Textured details in there all over the place too, which is nice. A little bit of body hair poking out on the chest and on the arms. I'm not so sure about these kind of painted on ones, but they are what they are at the end of the day. The paint application tattoo is nice and neat, as they often are with G.I. Joe Classified. They've got that nailed down. Got some nice fabric texture there going down into the trousers. You can see all the bunching up and folds and creases and stuff, and then sculpted boots, which have got a little paint application here as well on the... Is that for his stirrups? Does he use that for his stirrups? I don't know. Is that a motorbike thing or a horse riding thing? I don't know. I never know. There's always something I don't have knowledge on, isn't there? So someone in the comments let me know down below. The overall visuals, the colour scheme and the overall design are ideal for nostalgic fans like me who are looking for my old vintage memories of the comic books and the action figures and the cartoons, but wanting that more modern kind of classified take in the 6-inch scale. And this has nailed it spot on. You know, we've got the torn sleeves, the brown shirt with the blue jeans, got the belt buckle in there, the biker belt buckle. It's all spot on. The big blonde flash, bright yellow hair, all present there. So those internal nostalgia strings are getting plucked by classified very, very well. And I'd actually argue that as far as designs go, this guy has probably been... I mean, there's not a huge leap in the kind of modernization of the look and design of the figure, is there, compared to what we know and love from back in the day, but enough there in the 6-inch scale and the nature of the sculpting and the design to satisfy both camps, I feel. I mean, you could argue that he's a little bit too good looking for Buzzer. Perhaps a little bit too easy on the eyes for the ladies. I don't know. So aesthetically then, yes, I'm giving Buzzer a thumbs up. I've enjoyed the figure since he dropped on my doorstep a couple of days ago. Been getting lots of man-child playtime in and just kind of enjoying the visual experience. Although, I'm going to caveat that, bit of small print, enjoying the visual experience as far as just the main figure goes. I've got a few comments with regards to articulation and accessories and how that contributes to the visual experience as well. But overall, yeah, thumbs up. It's ticking all the boxes for me on that front. All right, let's now take a look at his articulation, shall we? Right, so then, well, it's the standard G.I. Joe Classified Series articulation, so if you've had a classified figure in hand before, then you'll be very familiar with what I'm about to show you. However, if this is the first G.I. Joe Classified Series figure that you've ever seen in your life, I'll do a quick rundown, starting above the shoulders here at the head. We've got a ball at the top of the neck, ball at the bottom of the neck, giving us good down, decent up, although obviously the ponytail gets in the way there sometimes. All the way around, full Exorcist 360, some tilt and swivel and stuff, good range of motion in the head. You may have noticed there as I was moving that around, my neck joint is very, very loose. The channel in the top of the head there is just ever so slightly larger than the ball, so it's very loosey-goosey, which is fine, but there's been the odd time where it's been kind of a bit droopy, which has been a shame. Then moving down into the arms, we've got the butterfly joint there in the shoulder, giving the little shuffle. Hinge and swivel in the armpit, giving us the T-shape, and the full 360 rotation all the way around like that. Swivel there at the top of the bicep and tricep. A pinless double elbow that gets us up to there. And then the standard pegged-in hands, which gives us swivel round the wrist. And then both hands on the figure have got the hinge up and down like so. You'll notice, actually, just while I'm here, I forgot to mention this on the aesthetic section, that the hand choice has been this kind of grippy hand, like the twins, like the Crimson Twins had. So you got the two fingers sort of there like that, and then the two lower fingers gripping round. I think this is both an aesthetic decision and a practical decision because of the type of accessories that come with the figure. But yeah, it's fine. It is what it is. That's not a problem. The hinge up and down does have a bit of an issue later on, which I'll come to when I come to look at the chainsaw. Then getting into the torso, got the diaphragm cut there, giving us a crunch forward and a crunch back. Mine is a bit loose. Can you see the movement there? He's a bit wobbly. Then we got the swivel in the waist there, nice movement, which adds to the crunch a little bit and gives us lots of opportunity for good posing. Moving down into the legs, it's the drop down joint in the groin there, giving good forward. Excellent Russian ballet splits, as always with G.I. Joe Classified Series there. Whoop. Got the thigh cut at the top of the thigh there, giving us the swivel at the top, although this I was going to come to. I don't know if you can see that there. The top of the leg and the thigh are not the same size, look. There's like this extra little lip here along the thigh cut that when you swivel it around, sort of, well, in fact, even when you've got these seams lined up, sticks out a bit there, look. Now you can disguise it a bit with these little leg holster pieces. But yeah, well, once I saw it, I couldn't stop seeing it. Like down into the knee, we got double pinned knee, which gets us up to there. Swivel at the top of the boot, and then the standard hinge and rocker on the ankles, giving us plenty of ankle movement. So I think it's only fair to give Buzzer a tentative thumbs up in terms of articulation. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the G.I. Joe Classified Series articulation scheme. I've said it before on previous G.I. Joe Classified Series reviews. However, with a couple of little QC bits around the neck and the chest and that weird misalignment on the thigh cut there, I'm going to put a little caveat, a bit of small print in there. But hopefully that's just mine. You know, I've said this before, that may just be mine that's popped off the production line there like that. And yours will be better. You know, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, accessories and added value now, and I'm going to get started with Buzzer's little small arms selection. He's got this little snub pistol here and his little dagger, or is that more of a knife? That's more of a knife, I suppose, there. The pistol's all right. It's just a plain piece of molded plastic, just a tiny little pistol piece. It's got this added little kind of extra bit of customization on Buzzer's part where he's wrapped some tape around the grip there, which adds a little bit of personality and character. It's very loose and floppy in that rubbery stuff. So even this tiny little thing has got a little bit of, you know, wibbly wobbliness about it. The dagger, I'm always a big fan when they put a paint application on the dagger, some metallic paint scheme there, so a big fan of that. But it's standard fare. It's not going to set the world alight, but obviously it can add to your posing in your types of displays that you might want to be pulling off. Both of these have storage on the figure itself. The knife has a little sheath there on the right leg, and the pistol has a little holster here on the left leg. Right, let's get these out of the way now then. So his sunglasses stroke goggles, which are a big part of the visual identity of the Buzzer character. You know, I don't think there's ever been a single time that I can picture in my mind's eye where Buzzer was not wearing his goggles, either in the cartoon or the comic books I read, the old Action Force titles. And they're okay, you know, they're the shiny metallic colour with the black lenses, just like he used to wear in the vintage design of the character, which is fine. But it's this really soft, gummy, plastic, rubbery thing, and the fit on the head isn't very good at all. So if I now fidget and faff with this over there and kind of pinch it over. Now I'm having a little bit more luck now than I did out of the box, because what I've done with the goggles is I have heated them a couple of times and then put them on his head and just sat there with my fingers pinching them in. And then as they lost their shape a little bit more, heated them again, what I did is I put them over a bit of steam from a hot mug. And then pinched them in so that they sit a bit more comfortable, and I've managed to reshape them a bit tighter. But when they first came out, these arms were super loose, and as you can see, the fit over the ear there is not fantastic. And if you try and fiddle about to line that up, you just, you know, you're misaligning it and things are going awry. So I've found a nice little kind of point there, and I've managed to tighten the gap of the arms so that they fit a bit tighter around his head. But these were an absolute faff, a real annoyance. And I know, shout out to my man Charlotte Prime, who I'm sure will swing by the comments at some point on this vid. We were chatting the other day over instant message. He's just glued his on, you know, which is a fair point, because as he rightfully observed, who's posing Buzzer without his goggles on, you know? So you may be looking at a little bit of super glue action for that one there, or at the very least you're going to have to sort of remold it with a bit of steam or hairdryer heat, and some sitting in front of the telly with your fingers like that. Next up, we got some kind of hand-to-hand weapon gear. We got like this battle axe thing made out of some car parts, and this, what's that, like a flail? Is that the right terminology on that? Hold the phone, let me get my phone and check. Yeah, okay, Googling it didn't help, because, you know, if you don't know what you're actually Googling for, then you just end up down a little weird rabbit hole of medieval weapons, although it was a fascinating read I've just had there now. It's got a flaily vibe, even though it's got more like a kind of chain sickle thing going on, but nonetheless, they're nice looking weapons, they're menacing, they look, I mean, that one looks like, you know, he's just made it himself, which I love that vibe. They just kind of put it together by sharpening some some discs out of an old car or something. It's great. They've got the shiny metallic paint applications on the bladey sections and the chainy sections, and we've got these tape around the grip there. So yeah, these are good. The chain's all right, but it's a bit wibbly wobbly again, rubbery. And this one came out the packet like look at that. super wibbly wobbly, and the fact that that's not very rigid can actually make it really difficult to get into his hand sometime, which is super annoying, because it sort of bends as you're trying to get it in, and because there's a little nubbin at the end. So I like them aesthetically, and they add to the aesthetic vibe of the character, but I'm not so keen on them in terms of implementation. That rubbery plastic's really letting them down. Also, no way of storing them on the figure, which is a disappointment as well. He could have done with a little backpack that could tuck these in, so he's got them somewhere ready for, producing in the heat of battle when he needs them. And then finally, we've got Buzzer's signature weapon, which is the chainsaw. And for G.I. Joe Classified series, they've decided to go for a much more classic, old school looking chainsaw. I remember his chainsaw being like gun shaped, with a butt and a trigger with the chainsaw sticking out of the front. But here they've gone for, a big old motorized unit with the big blade there. I support that decision in some respects. I don't support it in other respects, which I'll talk about in a second. But in terms of aesthetic, it's got some nice sculpted details in there. The blade, again, has got the paint applications on it, and there's two different shades of colour there. You've got the metallic silvery look in the centre, and then the darker grey for the blades around the chainsaw. So it's a good looking piece of kit in that respect. Very easily identifiable as to what it is and what they're trying to achieve there with the weapon. And it looks good in hand, kind of. I'll talk about it in a sec. We've got the rubbery plastic problem here, so the blade is wibbly wobbly. I've managed to heat that back into a slightly straighter line with the hairdryer. This is awkward because this section here, this handle, is very rubbery, and for the same reason as I mentioned, reclaim that. For the same reason as I mentioned with this one, the rubberiness, the softness, makes it difficult to maneuver it into his hand when you're trying to get a good grip on it if you're looking to do certain poses, which is a bit awkward and annoying. Also, here's Buzzer with the chainsaw in hands, and the other night I was posting him up and taking some photos, and I found myself putting him into pretty vanilla poses. Like, I couldn't get anything super exciting and dynamic going with the chainsaw in the mix. And one of the issues I kept coming across was the hinges in the hands, the up and down hinges. I feel like maybe I could have done with this hand, or one of the two hands, being a forward and back hinge rather than up and down hinge, so that I could bend this wrist down into that handle and it would give me a wider range of motion. I was trying to do like an over-the-head charge kind of thing the other day, like, over his head like this, and it all just kind of didn't come together. Well, now I've got him into a set of unreasonable splits, but you get the idea. I don't know, is it me? It may well be me. Let me know in the comments down below, but I just feel like the up and down hinges are not helping as much as maybe one of the hands needing to be a forward and back. And the chainsaw, I just sort of kept going here as standard, and that was sort of it. I don't know. But let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts and feelings are on that. It could very well be just a lack of talent and not a great eye for good posing. And I just need to play around a bit more. It has only been sort of 3 or 4 days since he arrived. I don't know. I'm open to comments and suggestions on that front. But I feel like I want a different hinge in one of these wrists. So there we go. So the accessories selection is all right. I'm edging down a bit. It's not a full thumbs up. I'm coming down a bit. I like them well enough, but this is getting silly now. This is getting out of hand, the Weebly. Look at that. I mean, I can go full right angle with that. The Weebly Wobbly rubbery plastic on the weapons is a shortcut too far now. It's getting a bit silly. And the implementation of the glasses, the fact that I can't seem to do much with the chainsaw, which I fully admit, I'll reiterate, I fully admit might well be me and a lack of imagination and talent on my part, but means that even though I've kind of got the accessories I want with Buzzer, minus the backpack, I would have liked some way of storing these on him. I'm a little underwhelmed and a bit frustrated that I had to really faff around with the goggles, which are such an integral part of his visual identity. So, yeah, the accessories, I'm sort of knocking it down a bit. I'm not a full thumbs up on that. There's just like a little bit something missing there. You know what I mean? So there we go. All right then, folks, quick figure comparison time, and you'll forgive me for going for the obvious choices here. Here's Buzzer with Zarana, fellow Dreadnoks member, and I got to tell you, folks, on the shelf, they do look pretty good. They make a nice little, it's a splash of colour, and it's got some, excitement about it, and some down and dirty, swampy stuff, and I liked it. I like the little display I got this pair into the other day, along with the boss man, of course, who comes across a bit bulkier in height and stature, and just general, body bulk, but that's fine. That works for me. They're a good-looking pair. Throw Zarana in the mix, and that's already forming into a nice little collection on the shelf. Although I like to get the colour on either side of Zartan. This has actually, just a momentary tangent, it's made me rethink the retro cardback Zartan, folks. I wasn't going to get it because I've already got this one, but now I sort of want the blue body armour and perhaps get rid of this one. So, folks, here we go then. Here's Buzzer going around on the turntable in a bit of a kind of pose that I sort of settled in on yesterday. As you can see, I've gone for the two sort of hand-to-hand weapons rather than the chainsaw, which may be quite telling in its own right, but I was trying to get something a bit more dynamic, a little bit more energetic, a bit more action-focused going on, and also I like the idea of these two kind of very brutal hand-to-hand weapons in use, so that's what I landed on, and, final thoughts time. Fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with Buzzer, but I have found myself a little bit underwhelmed, and I'm pretty confident that the reason for that is that the accessory implementation just slightly missed the mark, has all affected my overall experience. But I do find myself wondering if just a general sense of anticipation and excitement for such an iconic character that I really wanted in the collection, I was so keen for the Dreadnok roster to get fleshed out, has meant that my expectations set the bar a bit too high as well, which, I'd fully admit could possibly be the case. So, yeah, a little underwhelmed, and I think it's the implementation of the accessories that's done it, because really, overall, he's got everything you might want. It ticks all the boxes. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because overall, he's had 3 thumbs up from me, and I actually really like the figure. And when I got him in display with Zarana and Zartan, I was like, oh, yeah, that looks good, So maybe I'm being a bit too overcritical too. I'm not sure. But anyway, there's my review, folks. There's some thoughts. Hopefully, as I said at the top of the video, if you're thinking about picking up a Buzzer of your own, my thoughts today will help you make up your mind as to whether this is the figure for you. And if that is the case, then I would ask you very, very politely, if you'd be so kind as to head on down below, hit the thumbs up like button to let me know that you found it useful. And if you're not already subscribed, which you're likely not, because my stats are telling me that like 75% of my viewers aren't subscribed to the channel, then hey, smash that button too. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it means ever so much to me. And while I'm on that note, a massive thank you once again to all those who are subscribed and all those who've joined the MoDXtra Games and Collectibles viewing community. Keep the comments coming. Love chatting with you guys. It's a pleasure as always. All right then, and look at that. I've managed to time it so my figure's facing the front when I end the video. So have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you again around these parts sometime soon. Ta-ra now.